Good afternoon to everybody that's joining us. It's perhaps not afternoon if you're watching this back on YouTube. You are, but if you're here with us on Facebook, it's 3:30 on a Wednesday, which means it's Riverside Beads Live. So we do these every Wednesday. We put details of what we're covering in our newsletter, but also you can turn up here at 3:30 on our main Riverside Beads Facebook page and watch us live, or subscribe to our YouTube channel to get notified of those. They go up once a week as well. So today we are covering a 7-strand braid. Now I have created this disc to make the 7-strand braid a little easier. So you can 7-strand on a regular Kumihimo disc, and you've got all the different slots, and it's just a case of working out your spacings between them. But what I've done is make the process of this braid a little easier by just leaving the slots you need there for the 7 plus the empty one that you'll need, and I'll explain that in a moment. And we've done it flower shape, which I just thought would differentiate from the other discs that are out there, from the regular Kumihimo or the Kumihimo disc, which is also for a different braid structure. So this disc has been specifically created for the 7-strand braid, and Riverside have currently got a kit out for making braided and some beaded patterns as well, and we're developing further patterns and designs using our disc. So watch this space for that, and we know that lots of people out there are also creating their own braids with it already, so I think it's very exciting times to see what people are coming up with on this disc. And hopefully from the feedback I've been getting, having this disc is making it much easier. So you've not got to think about where you put in your slot or how you mark, and it's all marked up for you and you're ready to go. So I wanted to explain the process of the braiding so you can see how it works. This will be the finished braid that comes out the bottom, and these are some of the finished designs. So I've gone for all the same sort of design, just a multicoloured. That was very conveniently seven colours, I think it was, of different rainbow cords. This is shades of pinks and whites, creams, and then this is your shades of blue. So I find a really nice couple of colours to have in your stash are your whites and creams. They blend in nicely with all your colours, and then we actually have a nice stock of shades of colours, so watch out. We will hopefully get some bundles of different colours of cord for you in the future, but in the meantime we sell it by the metre, and you can create your own design. So there's lots of design possibilities with this. You don't have to have 7 different colours. You could have 6 different colours and then one colour pop, which will just give little highlights of colour. But the main thing I wanted to show today is the general principle of how to braid. How you lay them out will also change. If I just go to this one, because this was done the same as the one I'm doing, and then go to this one, there's just a difference in the braid structure. So the cords on this one have been laid out in a slightly different way, so you get a different design coming through. There's you know, the pale colours have all been put together, which you can see then creates a sort of cluster of the paler colours, and so you can get lots of design possibilities just by varying the way you lay your cords out on the top. So there's no right or wrong with that. The braid structure, the way we move the cords about, will be the same, so you can experiment with changing those about and seeing how the patterns come out for you. So I'm going to show you the principles of 7 braid. It's not officially a Kumihimo. It's I believe of Viking origin, and somebody informed me it was something called a trollen wheel that they did these on, so it may have stemmed from there in its historic past. It is something that is done in braiding as well, and across the braiding communities now, and it's often known as 7-strand or a fill the gap braid. So 7 strands because you've got 7 strands of cord, and fill the gap because we're going to bring the cord down into the gap, and that's the principle of it. Now what we've done with our disc is make it easier for you to follow the numbers round to get the gap in the right place. So the number always starts at 12 o'clock, and then the gap will always be 4 o'clock. But if you follow the number sequence round, it will remind you where you are. So to braid this through, I'm going to take the cord at number 1 into the gap, so you don't have to worry about where it goes in terms of the positioning, because there's only one gap to put that in. We take number 2 round to 12 o'clock, and then we repeat. So 2 goes down into the gap, only that one gap. Take 3 up to 12 o'clock again, so up to the north of your board. and you take that out and pop that in the gap. Then we take 4 round, take that out and into the gap. 5 round, so you're working through the numerical sequence. 6, always to 12 o'clock and bringing it into the gap, which is at the equivalent of 4 o'clock. 7, and then finally 8. And it is a repeating design that we follow. So if I bring that all the way around to 1 again, and then we carry on. So down, 2, down. I'll speed it up a little so you can see the process. So we're always filling that gap. We're always popping it in the empty slot that's there and following the numerical sequence round. Always leaving the number at 12 o'clock and bringing it down into the gap. So this is the basic principle. So this is a really good braid that is done with all ages and abilities. Really good for young children as well, because they can get to grips with this. This is currently mainly available in the UK. We're not as at September 2021, we're not currently posting internationally unless it's by request, and the sender is happy to receive the parcel and pay all the postage and accept responsibility for it. But we would, we would love to get this out there in the future. So watch this space once things improve. And we know that there are lots of particularly our US followers that would love to have this. So okay, so I'm carrying on that braid. So hopefully you're following as I'm doing it. So I'm working through the numerical sequence, always putting that at 12 o'clock and bringing that down into that gap. So I'm just going to stop back at 1, but you always know, because you'll have the gap at 4 o'clock. So if you did stop at a different number, you always know that your gap, wherever that might be, needs to come to 4 o'clock, and then you can carry on. So I'm going to show you what we've been doing underneath. So the bit I'd braided was from about there in them 2 repetitions round. I can see that because I can see my repeating pattern that I followed for them 2. So it was about there, something like that. So you can see that's done an inch, sorry, of cord. Excuse me, sorry. Okay, so that is the basic principles of a 7 braid. What I would then do, let's see if I've got my bead gauge to hand. Oh, my handy bead gauge that is always by my computer is gone. Okay, got my clear one, my emergency spare. So bead gauge measures the size of a bead, which is always useful if you're trying to if you've got a bead, you think, oh, what size was that? So you measure the size of your bead, but really useful for your braid. So I'll do it on this one here. So I'm measuring the braid. I still pull it into its natural tension, just to, just pull it down slightly and it will get it into its natural tension. I find that this one doesn't, I'm going to describe it as bulk up as much as an 8 walk Kumihimo or something. That can bulk up quite a bit, and when you pull it down, it really stretches it out. But it is worth stretching it down just to get it into its natural tension. So I'm going to take my bead gauge and I'm measuring around that cord. Now you don't want to squash it. Well, you could, because in principle you could squash it to get it into the end as well, because it's a flexible soft cord. It's a 1mm satin cord that I'm using for this particular one, but if you use a thicker one, it would just make a thicker braid on there. So it's a satin, or sometimes known as a rat tail. So I'm measuring that up, and that measures up at a 4mm. So for an end cap, and I did squash that very slightly, for an end cap I would be going 4/5, something like that. I think this one is a 5 actually. Yeah, it's a 5mm end cap. Having said that, I think this one's a 6mm, so that's really useful to see. It looks slightly bigger on there, but if you've only got a 6mm, because you perhaps use that for other braids, you can see that all I've done is just bulk it up with the glue, push it in, and what it does, it sort of just fills it for you. So it's naturally filled it into the 6mm. But yeah, so I feel with this, it's measuring up at a 4. I've gone for a 5. But you can see I only had 6s available when I put that one on, and that's worked absolutely fine. So that's how I measure up my Kumihimo ends as well. So that's always worth knowing. And Riverside Beads stock a whole range of end caps right down to a 2mm, right up to, I think 10mm is our largest common size that we do. Which are really good for all your different cord types and different combinations. So you don't have to just use one cord type is the other thing. So this is a 1mm satin. You could mix your 1mm and a 2mm, which gives you a lovely textured effect from the braid as well. Now, when you go down, let me bring back in my beaded one. When you go down to needing to get the beads on, you need to bring your cord size down to be able to fit your beads on. So this is an Eslon, a 0.5 Eslon, or we sort of use a 0.6 macrame cord sometimes in our Kumihimo braiding as well, but I have got a lot more Eslons of late. I've now varnished the end of my cords to get my beads on, because these are a little size 8 seed beads, so you want to make sure you're getting those on. Now this is one of our patterns from our 7 braid kit that we've got, and this is a 5 stripe pattern. So in our kit we've done a 5 stripe, we've done how to bead, and we've covered some different techniques. I think there's 3 covered in there at this stage, and you get a selection of beads and cord and end caps and everything along with your disc. So it's a really good way to get started if you haven't decided yet on that. So hopefully that answers everything you need. I'm hoping to pop back and program in a further tutorial where I'll show you how to add the beads on. I've done a little sampler here, and I'll show you how to make something like this so you can make your beaded ones on your 7 braid disc. So I hope that explains the difference between you know, your different braid structure, that this one works differently. It covers one particular braid structure, so every design, every pattern that's coming out on this is using this braid structure, and these are exclusively available at Riverside Beads at the moment, so do check by to us. Thanks so much for joining. Don't forget to subscribe if you are here with us on YouTube, and if you're here on Facebook, we're here every 3:30 every Wednesday as well. Take care everybody, and I'll see you next week. Hello Facebook, I'm back. Thank you for sticking with me. I don't think I had any questions come through, so fire them ahead now if you do. Oh, just one from Beverly. Kathy, you were preparing dinner. I got my hubby here today, so he's on dinner watch, which is very handy. Dorothy, that question wasn't aimed at me, I think, is it? No, it's aimed at Natalie. That's fine. Yeah, Natalie's got the disc, she said. Yeah, so Bev, what's the cord I'm using? So the one I used for the tutorial I mainly showed you was 1mm satin. So we've got it on our website by the metre. 2mm satin comes up thicker. I've not got my sample here of that one, so I'm just sort of experimenting. And I'll share some pictures over the coming weeks. So I'll lay some different braids together so you can see 1mm, 2mm, how they look and things. So I'll get those all sorted and photographed so you can see the difference in them. So keep an eye out on our social posts as well for all of that. This one is the same as I would use for regular Kumihimo, and it is a 0.5. I don't think we put the size in it, it's just Eslon it's referred to, and commonly this is the one that we use here for beaded Kumihimo. So but it is a 0.5, so 0.5, 0.6 for your beaded, because it's got to be small enough to fit your beads on. You'd get some chunky beads on this, so you would get some bigger hole beads on this one, but yeah, not your little seed beads, that would be too tight on there. Hope that helps, Beverly. Anyone else that I missed anything of? It's very strange, Facebook. It only shows me 4 messages at a time, and if they disappear, I have to try and remember any questions. I do check back, if not anyway, and try and answer anything over the course of the day. Lovely. Okay, that seems like everything that we need to know. So hopefully that just gives you that side of it again. Natalie, Eslon 0.6. No, I think it's called 0. I think it's a 0.5. I really should know this in great detail. Let me look in my book. So in my book, I did cover a 7 braid project, but I did it on the round disc, and that's what inspired me to sort of say, I really need a disc that does this one. And yeah, my book came out about 3 years ago at least now, and I've been designing the disc ever since and trying to get it in production. So it was a real lovely thing to get it here. Sorry, bear with me. I'm just double checking. You know when someone questions you and then you're not sure. Hold on. Somewhere there, she says. 0.5. Yeah, 0.5 Eslon. I think it, well, I know it's the only one we put on the website, Natalie. So we only have Eslon in 0.6. Sorry, 0.5. I'm reading your message. 0.5 Eslon. Just to confuse matters, we do have macrame cord by the metre, and that is 0.6. So yeah, Dorothy, this is completely different. All my book is all done on round Kumihimo. You can do a 7 braid pattern, so I did do that one, but that's why I did it in exactly the same colours for the pattern and the kits that we've done, because I wanted people to see how it translated to the disc and how that made it easier. So you haven't got to do it on your round disc. But yes, it's kind of an addition. It's not in place for sure. I love my 8 braid. All my other 11 projects in my book are all done on a round. Julie, I don't think patterns on their own. No, not at the moment. We don't tend to sell patterns, in all honesty. I tend to do more kits. So yeah, I know some of you have already got the disc and things like that. So yes, let's see. But I'm slowly releasing the different patterns and things, and it's evolving. We've got a couple of our ambassadors working on designs as well. So watch this space. I think I intend this disc to be out for a very long time. I intend it to be a staple, really, and like we have our regular Kumihimo disc, I'll just get a regular one for those of you that don't know what it is. I've got a drawer full of them. So you know I said I've got 4 of these flower ones open now for your 7 braid. Oh, I've got a drawer of these things because I always seem to need another one. So that's your round with 32 slots. We also do a 64 slot one, and there's lots of flexibility with that. And then this, we've had all the unnecessaries taken out, so you haven't got to work out your space in between here to do this braid structure. So yes. Julie, I need to do a book on it. Yeah, you'll have to bear with me. Bear with me on my patterns. I like to give a lot of variety when I do a book, but yeah, it might be nice. Or a little pattern book or something, but we tend to do them with kits because then people have got everything they need. So yeah, I bet we will see. I think the flower shape's really cute as well, Dorothy. I just think it's really nice, a different one. And I did want to differentiate it to the ones that were out there as well. So, have I got my Prue one hand? I was doing something on my Prue one the other day. So, I've only got my super thick one. So that's the hexagon one. That's for another completely different braid structure. So Prue has done a live for us on that one as well. So that's the other one that we stock. So yeah, we've got a real good stash. Those of you that can get to the shop, come into the shop, or visiting as a one-off visit that we've got, Natalie, or ladies that come and have a visit. Yeah, we've got a really good stash of your different discs. We've got the flat one, the square one as well for flat braiding. So yeah, nice selection now. You know, you can really sort of expand on the different things you can do. So watch this space. I'm going to schedule in a beaded one in the future. So keep an eye out. If you get our newsletters, we put them in there. And I will keep you up to date. So those of you that got the nice weather, enjoy. I think it may be, you never know, it might be the last week. We're doing well, aren't we, the end of September, to get such a nice week. And don't forget the shop is fully functioning again, back open. It's been really lovely. We've had lots of people through. And those of you that are local or planning a visit, if you can do it on Saturday, we have some bargains to be had. Beady bargains, ad hoc, randoms, lots of random semi-precious-y bits, all for Sue Ryder. So it's a charity stall that we're holding outside. There's also bric-a-brac and things for the kids and all sorts. But weather's going to be good to us, so that's fabulous. And what I thought is, if I don't get enough specialist people, specialist customers, if I just get general people in, and I don't sell all the semi-precious, I might do a bit of a live auction. I thought that might be quite cool to do on here. So let's see how much semi-precious we've got and other beady bits and bobs, and I might do some little lots that I can do a live of. We'll do a bit of an auction house. Yeah, let me see how I get on with that. It depends how much of it sells live on the day. So, oh, in Colchester, so it's spread somewhere along the country, Natalie, hasn't it? But yeah, bless you, as you get a little bit more up north, it's not behaving for you. Wonderful. Okay, fabulous. Thank you so much, guys. Good to see you all again. Thank you so much for your support as always. And I'll be back next week. What am I doing next week? Little bit of beaded Christmas next week. It's our Christmas wreath kit that I'm showing, which is some mini beaded wreaths. So watch out for that. Julie, I know I've been meaning to do a live auction ever since COVID. I probably could have emptied the shop, couldn't I, by doing live auctions, which I didn't want to do because I was quite concerned when we reopened, making sure we had enough stock. But yeah, so watch this space. Let's see. Fabulous. Thank you, guys. Take care of yourselves.